Universalist church, building community, inspiring growth, creating change. Here in the heart of Kansas City, we come together to create this hour of shared reflection so that we might be renewed in courage for these times and inspired to lives of greater dignity, higher purpose, deeper generosity, and more effective action. May the words and music and images that we offer today nourish our best selves, calling forth abundant wisdom and love, a love that has the power to overcome both loneliness in the heart and oppression in the world. Welcome to our service.
Arise, O souls,
Good morning. My name is Sean Lichten, and I am a member of All Souls. Whether you are here in the room or watching online, we are glad that you are here today. Your presence enriches all of us and our time together. We are a Unitarian Universalist congregation, and our tradition is a large tent with room for many beliefs and approaches to the questions that matter. That said, our values of inclusion, compassion, and justice are strong, and they hold us together. We seek to build this beloved community, making room for everyone and creating a world where everyone's needs are met. You may be new here this morning. Welcome. I hope that you have visited the welcome table in the lobby, where you can learn more about our congregation. Would all Souls members who want to meet visitors please raise your hand? Glad we all can agree on that. Visitors, as you feel comfortable, I encourage you to talk with any of the people who have raised their hands. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. And whether you come with laughter in your heart or tears, you are welcome here. And you are invited to join us with an open mind, a loving heart, and willing hands. We welcome you today.
I call today Celebration Sunday. We get to celebrate who we are, that we have been around for 156 years, and that we continue to bring a message of love, acceptance, and justice to our community. We are here, we are vibrant, we are all souls. And today is also the day when we ask you to make a financial commitment for the next fiscal year of the church. When our leaders create the annual budget, they need to have the best possible estimate of how much money you, our members, plan to give over the span of the year, July through June. And so we ask you to pledge, to tell us how much money you plan to give, how often. We won't tell you how much. What is possible for you is fantastic, and if you have sufficient resources, we urge you toward generosity. Pledges make up 2/3 of our annual income, and your commitment now lets us make the great plans for the future, a future we are just imagining and building together. Our opening words are by the Reverend Dr. David Breeden. Welcome to this place where certainty transforms into questions. This place that takes what is and imagines what can be. Welcome to this space where what was fixed begins to shift, where rigidity embraces unfolding as we join in the dance of transformation. Welcome to this moment of change, where together we transfigure and transcend together.
Here, today, in this place, and with these people, may we listen so that we can hear. May we hear so that we can feel. May we feel so that we can know. And may we know so that we can change ourselves and this world. And may this chalice we light our way. Please stand as you are able and join in the affirmation of our covenant. Then remain standing as we join together in song. Together we affirm, goodwill is the spirit of this church, and service is its law. This is our great covenant, to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another.
I have a story, and I am wondering if the people who are young and young at heart would like to come forward for it and sit on the carpet, please. We have reasons that it is best for everybody if you sit on the carpet. Hi, Miles. On the carpet. On the carpet. Okay. This story is called The Stream, and it is a Sufi parable. So I'm going to tell you about both of those words really quick. The word Sufi describes a group of people who practice Islam, but do it in a different way than a lot of the other people who practice Islam. And so Sufis are Muslims that practice their faith in a specific way. And a parable is a story that teaches us something. And sometimes a parable goes in a direction that you didn't expect. So this Sufi parable is called the stream. I'm going to come sit down with you guys. I'm towering over you. Okay. A stream. From its course in far-off mountains, passing through every kind and description of countryside, at last reaches the sands of the desert. Just as it had crossed every other barrier, the stream tried to cross this one, but found that as fast as it ran into the sand, its waters disappeared. It was convinced, however, that its destiny was to cross the desert. And yet there was no way. Now a hidden voice coming from the desert itself whispered, "The wind crosses the desert, and so can the stream." And the stream objected that it was dashing itself against the sand and only getting absorbed, that the wind could fly, and that was why the wind could cross the desert. And the desert said, "By hurtling in your own accustomed way, you cannot get across. You will either disappear or become a marsh. You must allow the wind to carry you over to your destination." But how could this happen? By allowing yourself to be absorbed by the wind. And this idea was not acceptable to the stream. After all, it had never been absorbed before. It did not want to lose its individuality. And once having lost it, how could he know that it would ever be regained? "The wind," said the sand, "performs this function. It takes up water, carries it over the desert, and then lets it fall again. Falling as rain, the water again becomes a stream." How can I know that this is true? It is so. And if you do not believe it, you cannot become more than a quagmire. And even that would take many, many years. And certainly it is not the same as a stream. But can I not remain the same stream that I am today? You cannot, in either case, remain so. Your essential part is carried away and forms a stream again. You are called what you are even today because you do not know which part of you is the essential one. And when the stream heard this, certain echoes began to arise in its thoughts. Dimly, it remembered a state in which it, or some part of it, had been held in the arms of the wind. It also remembered, or did it, that this was the real thing, not necessarily the obvious thing to do. And the stream raised its vapor into the welcoming arms of the wind, which gently and easily bore it upwards and along, letting it fall softly as soon as they reached the roof of a mountain, many, many miles away. And because it had its doubts, the stream was able to remember and record more strongly in its mind the details of the experience. It reflected, "Yes, now I have learned my true identity." So this is a kind of metaphorical story, but what I'm hoping you can learn from it is that the stream allowed itself to change into something completely different. And then it found that even changing into something completely different, it was still what it was, a stream. So all of us are going to change over our lives. Things are going to change around us, and we are going to grow and become slightly different people, and yet at our core, we're always the same loving person we've always been. So as you grow up, know that changing is okay and that you will still be you. Let us sing our young people to their classes.
Hi, I'm Terry McNevin. Happy to be here this morning, and I was hoping you could indulge me just a little bit. This young man who did such a wonderful job doing the lighting ceremony, Sean, just turned 16 yesterday. So do you mind if we all sing happy birthday to Sean? Sean, wave! Isn't he terrific? I know. I'm going to start by giving you a little story. Do you know Valentine's Day was less than a month away? And if you remember what Valentine's Day was, it was the day of the Chiefs Super Bowl parade. And it was a day of celebration. Kids were out of school, and you could watch it on TV. God knows I wouldn't want to be down there. But you could see whole families together. And as you watched, towards the end, we heard gunfire. And it was incredibly scary. I can't even imagine having been down there. And those of us who love children can only imagine, too, that 11 of those people shot that day were children. Children. And so I remember in the days following the ceremony, I had this deep, icky feeling, kind of funk and everything. Until on Thursday, when the Hunger Outreach team gets together, and I saw a friend who's very, very dear to me, and you could tell something was wrong with her. And I, said, "What's going on?" And we sat down together, and she said, "I'm just so sad about the parade." And at that particular time, I realized that was what I was feeling. The weight of the world had just gotten to be too much. The visions of children being pulled from burning buildings, everything that's gone on, it just got to me. So when she said, "I'm just sad," it made me own what I was feeling. But just about that time in the kitchen that was ablaze with light and laughter and wonderful smells coming from the kitchen, we both realized there was no place else we wanted to be. Because when you're in despair, when you are feeling sad and angry and just this unthinkable kind of sadness that you have, then the best thing you can do is, A, go help somebody else, or 2, just being with friends. And so I thought, I'm just in the best place possible. So I was thinking about this place, this special force of light, this beacon on the hill, if you would, that we are just so lucky. Because you know what? Every night of the week, the lights are blazing from here, and you can see people ringing bells and meeting with AA and knitting and painting and cooking wonderful meals for our food insecure and folks that are neighbors. So I just want to remind you that in this force of light, that all forces of light have to be maintained. You have to put in new batteries every once in a while in your favorite flashlight. You've got to shine the light on top of the lighthouse. You cannot ignore it. And so I'm going to ask you today to keep our light shining very, very bright here during this period of transition and transformation, that we work together to keep our little lights shining so that we can go out into the world and keep this special, special place shining as well. Thanks. Oh, now the offertory will be now given and gratefully received. And now we dedicate our offerings and our actions to the mission at the heart of this congregation, to build a respectful, caring community, to inspire personal growth, spiritual growth, and to create change towards a just and compassionate society.
Today's reading is an excerpt from The Soul of Money, a bestseller by Lynn Twist. We each have the choice in any setting to step back and let go of the mindset of scarcity. Once we let go of scarcity, we discover the surprising truth of sufficiency. By sufficiency, I don't mean a quantity of anything. Sufficiency isn't 2 steps up from poverty or 1 step short of abundance. It isn't a measure of barely enough or more than enough. Sufficiency isn't an amount at all. It is an experience, a context we generate, a declaration, a knowing that there is enough and that we are enough. In our relationship with money, it is using money in a way that expresses our integrity, using it in a way that expresses value rather than determines value. Sufficiency is not a message about simplicity or about cutting back and lowering expectations. Sufficiency doesn't mean we shouldn't strive or aspire. Sufficiency is an act of generating, distinguishing, making known to ourselves the power and presence of our existing resources and our inner resources. Sufficiency is a context we bring forth from within that reminds us that if we look around and within ourselves, we will find what we need. There is always enough.
Good morning. I'm Bonnie Postwaite. I'm the president of the board, and I'm also serving as the chair of the stewardship committee. So scarcity is a real thing here at All Souls. We could use more money, we could use more volunteers, we want more members, and so forth. But we seem to have let go of scarcity as we keep on doing our work with a sense of sufficiency. We have built a great community that does great things like Hunger Outreach Team. We have great staff and a core group of volunteers who keep the church humming along. We have not lowered our expectations of what we want to do or to be. But have we entered into the part of sufficiency that is an act of generating, distinguishing, and making known to ourselves who we are and what we want to be? All Souls has been living in a liminal space for about 4 years. First, we had to go virtual because of COVID and couldn't be together. And then our beloved minister had a stroke. We have weathered these storms through transformations. By using more technology to enable us to meet online as well as in person, synchronously or asynchronously, introducing flexibility into our lives on an ongoing basis. And by hiring Reverend Erin to lead us as we transitioned to Reverend Kendall being on leave and going forward as we all transition to her eventual retirement. We have learned to react to our situations rather than take control of it. We have lost sight of what our future might be as we seek to survive given unusual situations. The time is now to regain control of our destiny. The board has entered into discussions about reimagining what our church might be in the future and how we might get there. The first step is today's launch of our annual pledge drive, where we ask you to open your hearts and pocketbooks to take ownership in your church with transformative giving. This is giving that not only supports the basic needs of maintaining a place of gathering, community, and spirituality, but also supports an idea of what we want to be to contribute meaningfully to a loving and equitable world. It has been a while since we reviewed our vision, our mission, and our values. Do they still reflect who we are and what we want to be? It is time to revisit them and tweak them if needed. But we can't just put them on a shelf. We need to have a focused action plan that ensures we get to where we want to go. We hold in our hands today many seeds that need to be planted and nurtured to full growth so that our garden transforms into a bounty of good for our All Souls community and beyond to the Kansas City area community. I personally want to see our nascent Justice Action Network mushroom into focused advocacy and action that draws in members and potential members to make a difference in the Kansas City metro area. I want to see us grow the future of our faith with young people present. I want our members to find great inspiration and spiritual inquiry in community on Sunday mornings, like listening to our choir. And I want us to live our values both as an organization and as individuals in how we care for others, including our fellow congregants, staff, and visitors. So I invite each of you to open up a little space and think deeply about what we want to do as a community. Join the board when we begin congregational conversations about our future. Bring our ideas and let other people's ideas spark your own imagination. We want to build on what we have built in the almost 160 years of our existence. Transformation is celebrating what is and building upon it. What we are today will make what we will be tomorrow even more beautiful. Anais then wrote, "And the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to blossom." I believe we have reached the point where this beautiful bud needs to move into full blossom. Please join me in that effort today by making your transformative pledge, your giving commitment for fiscal year 25, which starts in July. You will join over 35 people who have already made their pledge and helped us reach over 35% of our $330,000 pledge goal. If you do so by noon on Tuesday, March 12th, you will be entered into a drawing for one of 3 gift cards for being an early bird pledger. Please do so. Winners of the drawing will be contacted personally so they can select either a gift card from Ragazza or Glenwood Arts Theater. The winners will be announced in Friday's Flickr. You can make your pledge right now on your phone, or after the service, join us in the lobby for a celebratory reception and go to the Stewardship Committee's table where you can make your pledge online or filling out a paper form. In the coming weeks, I also ask you to join our board in conversations to discern our future. So now the choir is going to sing to remind us that here in reverence now we gather for the blessings we have known, with a pledge to one another that we journey not alone. Love calls us on. With great gratitude and love, thank you.
Words and deeds of those before us, waken here to keep us strong. Blend our voices in the chorus, creation's living song. Courage bids us lift our eyes upward to the shining skies. Hope calls us on. Hope calls us on. Lord, Loyal guides in love and duty. Lead us with a trusted light. Blessed are they whose inward beauty shows the path of truth and light. Honor is their earthly prize. By their work we realize faith calls us on. Faith calls us on. We have shared a radiant hour when the truth has made us free, and the Spirit's gracious power dreamed of good that yet shall be. Bright the path before us lies. Joyful pilgrims now we rise. Life calls us on. 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 Life calls us on.
It is so fantastic to have the opportunity to sing with this choir. We had driven all night in the cold of January through Colorado, Nebraska, and into Iowa. As we drove down I-80, that straight line pointing east, the sky began to lighten ever so. And the horizon changed colors long before I could see the sun itself. And the sky became its own rainbow in that clear cold. The dark purple above, and line by line of color down to the yellowing horizon. As the light of the sun slowly changed the sky, the world around me changed as well. It grew in definition, and I could make out the sparse trees, and eventually the fence posts at the side of the highway. And color washed into the dark world that had been seen in black and gray. The world transformed all around me, and I transformed too. The poet Sue Ludwig writes, "I am in search of my life, not the one I was dealt, but the one I want to have. Not the one repeatedly stomped into the ground, popping up where I least expect it, but the one where I wake up each day excited to be on a path blooming with maybe nothing I expected, but everything I wished for. I have been tending to the hard work. I have unearthed and tilled and reseeded the dead areas. I am beginning to see sprouts, little glowing green life, pushing against gravity, weight of earth to find light. They are in search of their life. They know more than I how to shed the confines of the seed, thank it for its lesson, and grow. While I had no control over the rising sun and transformation that it brought to the sky and the world, this poem speaks of choosing transformation, not allowing previous ways and transformations to control what could be intentionally planted, the change that was necessary to bring vision to life. So these two ways of transformation, they seem so different. The happenstance transformation that comes for us no matter what we do, and the transformation we bring for ourselves, the transformation we nurture in us and around us. Now we, all of us here at All Souls, are in a moment of transformational both and. Because the world has been transforming around us ever faster, begging us to move and change, and dare I say the word pivot again and again, to try to adapt. The world is not the same world that I knew growing up in a Unitarian Universalist church in the 80s and 90s, when newsletters were printed on paper and printed directories had home addresses and landline numbers. When the church was filled with families and children and only some of the church leaders had retired. Now, a church is not relevant without social media, a good website, and newsletters direct to the email inbox. Services must be available to watch online. We use text messages to coordinate meetings and volunteers. And did you know you can use a phone app to see how much money you have donated here, update your contact information, and look someone up in the directory, tapping their number to immediately place a call? No, really. This app exists. You can do it. It's called Breeze. During the pandemic, you learned to use Zoom in order to meet at all. And the Sunday plus lunches were bagged and ready for pickup. And here we are now, pulling ourselves back into the building and wondering, after all this change, what do we have left to work with? We've got new families showing up. And we find that their needs and their schedules have changed. How can we meet them? We have been called into intentional work of building beloved community and anti-racism. Yet what might that look like? And how do we do it with integrity? What are we at All Souls really about? I don't know if it's the same question or not. What do we want to be about? The world is changing so quickly. We have no choice but to change with it. We can't look back and say that this thing worked 30 years ago and we should try it again. Because the world isn't the same. The needs have changed, and the ways must change as well. We don't actually have a choice. A church cannot stand still and look backwards. But it is called into the new sunrise to discover how it brings bands of color and new possibilities into the world. Yet, while we must find new ways to meet the needs of the moment, we also get to choose how we transform. We can plant the right seeds for us in the right places to grow our church in the right ways for us right now and into the future. This is the visioning process we will undertake together. We will imagine together what our future together will be, bringing in new faces and joy along the way. At the same time, we are telling hard truths that are real. Hard truths that we have stagnated in numbers, just like most other churches. Our membership has dropped. And while so many of you remain so very generous, our income isn't meeting the needs of our expenses. So we do need to acknowledge this truth. And yet, I'm worried that we're going to focus so hard on the numbers and the challenges that we will allow our visions to constrict. And that's the outcome of a focus on scarcity. We can't afford. We don't have enough volunteers. No one wants to step into leadership. And many ministers would ask us to shift our thinking from scarcity to abundance, that really we have more than we need to live into the lives and the future church that we know are possible. And that feels like too large of a leap to seem plausible in this specific moment. But Lynn Twist gives us a different term: sufficiency. It's not more than we need, but the experience of knowing that there is enough. That we are enough, that you are enough, that the love we bring into being together and then share with the world is enough. There's no panic in the word enough. No imminent end of everything looming down upon us, because it's not. Remember Lynn Twist's words that sufficiency, the feeling of enough, is something that we bring forth from within, that reminds us that if we look around us and within ourselves, we will find what we need. If we look around us and within us, we will find the money that makes a church budget possible. If we look around us and within us, there are volunteers who do and will keep getting things done. And if we look around us and within us, we will find leaders. We have what we need to imagine the future of All Souls and bring it into being right in this room, right inside of you. The resources, the hours, the brilliance to develop new ideas and plans. Yes, today is in many ways about the nitty-gritty of needing you to make a promise now of financial gifts starting in June and going forth for 1 year. Yes, I'm asking you to imagine what might be possible for All Souls and what might be possible for your generosity. Some of us dream of a budget where we do not cut programs or staff hours and still make it balance. I acknowledge it may be a pipe dream, but when I feel sufficiency, I know it might be possible. We are a generous people. So let's get excited about the future. Let's let our imaginations run wild in wondering what we might do together to live out our faith and our community of All Souls. The sun is rising. We are called to transform ourselves and our church into something new and vibrant that meets the needs of tomorrow. Feel where we are going. Feel the generosity, feel the love. All Souls is transforming into its future. Amen. Amen. May it be so. So now all of us are here, and instead of Bonnie and Terry and me telling you about how great All Souls is and that you should support it with your money and your time and your skills, how about you talk to each other? Now, I have 2 questions for you, and we're going to take them in turn, talking in pairs. You will have about a minute each for each question. I'm going to ring a chime to remind you to switch and to ask you to quiet to hear the next question or what's going to happen next. If you are up for it, I want to first invite you to move around and sit next to someone you didn't come with, and ideally, maybe you don't know very well. The choir is invited to move into the auditorium too for these conversations. So move around now, find a conversation partner, and then we will start with the first question. So I thank my wonderful husband for grabbing the chime that I forgot to grab before the service. Let me give you your first question. How is All Souls helping you to transform? You have a minute each. I'll chime in between. It is time for the second question. How can you help all souls to transform? Will you commit more to all souls than you have in the past? You have 1 minute each. Switch. I hope that your conversations have helped you to connect with each other, with all souls, and generosity. I invite you to please rise in body or spirit for our closing hymn, Arise All Souls.
No part of this world is alone.
release this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again. We are all souls, and may we arise. Arise into our imaginings, arise into our future, arise into greater meaning, and let the sun rise within ourselves and our community, bringing a new light and new possibility.